I just want to address that. I realize when the mob gets arrested and everybody goes to jail that it'll be a bit of a vacuum area, a vacuum space where something used to occupy a space and now no longer does, and now you have an empty space, so it creates like a vacuum environment. And whatever money we lose from the mob disappearing, uh, just it's a fantasy. They want you to think that's so you don't get rid of them. You think, oh, we're gonna lose if we get rid of you. No, you never lose when you get rid of the mob, believe me. And you know, the money will be replaced. The vacuum will be filled. Something else will take its place. And because there is the example of the mob being evicted like the garbage that they are, not more garbage isn't going to fill that space. Because if you're a mobster and you're looking for a place to go, you're not going to come here. Knowing that we just kicked out all our mobsters. You're not going to come here and say, I'm going to set up shop there. I'll be a better mobster. It's not going to happen. So just realize that something better is coming. Something better is on the horizon. What it is, I don't know. I don't want to define it. I don't want to tell you what it's going to be because I don't want you to make it. I want you to make what you want to make. I want you to make what you desire. Now, I know that you come from a warped environment, which was the mob war, the mob environment. That's a warped environment. Confirmation. That's a warped environment. And it's kind of like when you went to Six Flags. And I'm not saying Six Flags is a warped environment, but it is an environment. And then if I said to you, well, we're going to make this over here on this property, and for you would most likely make just another Six Flags on a new property. And I want you to think outside the box. I want you to make something new completely. Something Six Flags never thought of. Something Six Flags just isn't. That, people aren't going to say, well, we can go to Six Flags or we can go to this place and get the same thing. You don't want that. Because that's like the mob being replaced by the mob. And that's what you don't want. You have to think outside the box. You have to understand this is your time. Because, like with the mob, where they establish themselves here, they're very hard to get rid of once they're established. And it's very impossible for one person, other than myself, to change the situation. And so what I'm saying is establish something that's going to last. Establish something you're going to love. Establish something that's going to help you and your children and your children's children. Like all those carnivals that come into your town and rape you blind of all your money, because all those carnival games are rigged so you can't win. You're all trying to get the big tiger, and they give you a little, you can't even describe what it is, a little nothing if you do win. And then they tell you got to win 20 times to get the tiger. And that tiger is like years old. They never gave it away. So don't do that. Don't build that. That was the mob. The mob runs carnivals. How do you get all the money? How do you get the spots where to put them? It's all paid under the table. Rent. You pay extra or an exorbitant amount of rent just to the mob to be there. When you have that kind of money changing hand, the mob's in there somehow. Somehow they're in there. So, but you gotta get rid of them. You gotta get rid of them like that cancer with many tentacles. And you gotta get all the tentacles. You can't just get, it's like the weed with the roots. You gotta get all the roots. Otherwise the weed comes back. And you don't want that. It's very hard to get rid of them. You don't want to have to do it again. And once they're gone, you want them gone. And that's it. Never to return. But you'd be fooling yourself if you think they couldn't. So just be aware, and the more you're aware, the more you look for it, And you look for the subtle. Don't look for the mob war. Look for the increase in prices, It's like, oh, how come that went up? Because Carlos needs to get some money, So you gotta look for the subtle, because that's where they live. And they live in the shadows. They don't put it on a billboard. The Sandcastle is total mob. You can't have a wedding there unless you pay the mob. And, and the price, why do you spend $40,000, $50,000 on a wedding for one night dinner? Because the mob's getting a cut, the biggest cut. So, it's all crap. So, just build something good. Think about the future. Don't think about today. Think about what you want in the future, Invest your money properly. And expect to fail. Expect to fail. Every entrepreneur that's out there, even Bill Gates, Bezos, all those, and I don't really consider them entrepreneurs, but for argument's sake I will. But they're all misunderstood. Everybody, they didn't want Windows. They didn't want Amazon. Amazon sold books. It wasn't a big deal. They thought it was a bad thing because it put Barnes and Noble and all the other bookstores out of business, and the mom and pop bookstores went out of business because of Amazon. And those were negative things. But even Ford, Henry Ford, when he started making the Model T, he was an entrepreneur at that point, and people were negative towards him because he paid his men enough money that they could buy a Model T. He's like, if I don't pay him enough to buy a Model T, who's going to buy him? Nobody's going to buy him if they can't afford to buy him. So he had to pay them enough to buy him. And he was an entrepreneur, and he was misunderstood. All the greatest among us, I don't care who they were, entrepreneur or not, all the greatest among us were misunderstood. I have a shirt that says that. I don't know where it is, though. But I have a shirt that says that. And it's true. So plan to fail. Plan to have it. People say you're crazy. How many people say I'm crazy? Especially they watch my videos and I'm going into the mob by myself. So I'm crazy, right? Yeah. No, it is what it is. I'm not running. I went out last night to a movie at 11 o'clock at night by myself. Came home at 1 o'clock in the morning. No car. I don't drive. And took an Uber. If they wanted to get me, they could have got me then at any time. And I don't hide. I'm not going to hide in my room just because of what I did. I go out. I had messages from gods or whatever you want to call it, angels or whatever. Don't go out. Stay in the house. I'm sorry, I can't do that. Won't do that. If you're a God and you can protect me, then you protect me, because I'm going out. If I don't come back, that's fine with me. But I'm not hiding. I'm not cowering in the corner because of these scumbags. That's what they live off of. That's their currency. The currency is fear, and I don't give them any currency. Not with me. So, I notice a lot of people don't sit next to me because they're afraid. They don't want to get caught in the crossfire. I don't hide. I don't move. I sit right out in the open. That's just who I am. I wouldn't have started this. I wouldn't have moved in that direction if I wasn't. Most people don't take on the mob by themselves. The mob is always, be quiet, don't say the word. Fuck you. We're all sick because of you. I'm trying to make the world, at least this town, a better place. And you got to be evicted in order for that to happen. It's like you can't keep giving an alcoholic alcohol and expecting it to get better. It's not going to happen. You can give them all the therapy in the world, but if they go home and have a drink, you just wasted an hour. So, something's got to give. I ain't going to sit by and let you do what you want to do and get away with it. the cops. You made the cops sick because they're sick with the money you pay them. Because now they've grown into it. You know, they have a house they can't afford, a car they can't afford because the money that they need your money to afford it, and so they have to accept the money, whether they want to or not. And I'm saying not.